Another text, arm the teachers that want to be armed and give training. Absolutely. We're going to get into that. I've got some real issues with some things that people are saying, and I will tell you this. If LISD, if Friendship ISD, and if Lubbock Cooper ISD will agree to allow properly trained and qualified teachers in the classroom to be armed, I'm going to make an offer this morning. I'll buy the first firearm for all 3 school districts if they will allow teachers to be armed. They can meet me at the gun store of their choice, and we'll buy some Glock 43s, a little single stack, easily concealed 9mm. I don't expect I'm going to be spending any money, but boy, would I really love to. Again, this is the Chad Hasty Show. We're going to talk more about arming classroom teachers. We're going to talk about the Texas Education Agency seeking $54 million for, quote, school safety. And we're going to talk about what the LISD folks are doing for school safety. Appears to me, not much. We'll be back. Back on the Chad Hasty Show, I'm Paul R. Beane, and we've got news out of Austin from the Texas Education Agency. They're looking for $54 million for school safety. The Texas Education Agency, this is an Associated Press story, asking lawmakers for $54 million to pay for school safety initiatives in a request just after the deadly gunfire down near the Houston area. The Houston Chronicle reports that the Texas Education Agency made the request last Thursday in its legislative budget request. The May attack at Santa Fe High School left 10 students and staff dead. A suspect who was a student remains in custody. Now, here's what they say the money is for, and listen carefully to this, folks. The money is needed for Safe and Healthy Schools Initiative. I don't know what that means. That effort supports mental health services, a positive school culture, facilities safety, and emergency response coordination. Blah, 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 blah. The Texas Education Agency wants the funds to add counselors and mental professionals, plus possible expansion of the school marshal program to provide firearms training to teachers and allow them to be armed on campus, and that's in the very last sentence of this story. Because that is the hot-button issue, arming teachers. Now, folks, I've long been an advocate of arming teachers in the classroom. I've got a dog in the fight, okay? They've got to stop these school shootings. They're claiming the lives of our most precious commodity, and that's our children. In a recent editorial in the Avalanche-Journal, a guy named Dave DeMatthews, he's an associate professor of educational leadership and policy, whatever that means, at the University of Texas. He wrote that arming teachers was a bad idea. Instead, he wants more money for schools to hire high-quality counselors to seek out troubled kids before these incidents occur. I take no issue with that. I got no problem with that. My question is, what do we do right now? What about today when our schools reopen after the Labor Day weekend? The thing missing from this whole editorial, it was in the Lubbock Avalanche-Journal, was a thorough explanation of why arming teachers was a bad idea. He just simply said it was a bad idea. Just another liberal lie that all guns are bad and that somehow guns in the classroom are a bad idea. Let me tell you what a bad idea is. A bad idea is allowing some insane idiot to shoot their way into a school and murder innocent children and teachers and staff people while the children cower under their desk, unable to do a single thing to protect themselves. They watch their classmates being systematically murdered while they pray for help and wait for their turn to die. That's a bad idea. And who says arming teachers won't work? It's not been tried. The only way to stop a school shooter is to kill him or her before innocent children die. That's it. I can't remember when the old black and white movie Shane came out. It starred Alan Ladd and Gene Auther and Van Heflin and Brandon DeWild and a bunch of folks. Anyway, it was about a gunfighter, Alan Ladd, who was trying to put his past behind him. And he and Gene Auther, there's a scene in this movie where he and Gene Auther, the actress, they're talking, and she said, "I'll be glad when there's no more guns in the valley." And Shane says, "Gun's a tool, ma'am, just like an axe or a hoe or a shovel or a saw. It's no better or no worse than the man using it." And that is as true today as it was when the great director made the movie Shane. George Stevens, by the way, directed that movie. You know, it's amazing to me. Many school boards around Lubbock refuse to even consider the idea of arming teachers. They say it won't work. They don't know it won't work. Teachers with Texas concealed carry permits who've already undergone an FBI check and a Texas Department of Public Safety background check, been fingerprinted. My wife and I have 2 daughters, both of which have taught school. Now, the oldest in Arizona taught at a private Baptist school on a part-time basis, while our youngest, she spent 33 years in the classroom. 33 years of her life in the classroom. 2 of my uncles were school superintendents. 4 aunts and uncles, other aunts and uncles taught school. Why local school boards refuse to consider qualified teachers with firearms it's just a total mystery to me. I don't understand it. The new school superintendent at LISD, Kathy Rollo, recently told a TV station, Channel 34 here in Lubbock, while addressing school safety, she said, We're looking at ways to create some socially emotional learning. We're looking at ways to create social emotional learning. What the hell does that mean? Just more liberal psychobabble that means they're going to solve the issue of school shootings with touchy-feely, I'm okay, you're okay, let's all take some medicine and be better. I just feel like if you agree with me or disagree, you need to contact the school board members where your children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews attend. We're going to continue this discussion right after the break, and we're going to tell you who to contact at some of these schools. I'm Paul R. Beane. This is the Chad Hasty Show. We were talking about arming teachers, allowing teachers the ability to protect themselves and their students, which none of the school boards around the Lubbock area seem to want to embrace. And I simply do not know why. You cannot call a police officer once an active shooter is inside a school. Hey, folks, it's too late. People are already dying. Remember the old saying, when seconds count, police are minutes away. And it's not their fault. You can't blame them. The blame lies with you. You know, I've just been stunned by the reaction of our new school superintendent at LISD, Kathy Rollo. I don't know her, never met her. I'm sure she's a good person, and I'm sure she loves kids, and I'm sure she's passionate about education. But as far as, I don't know if she's ever picked up a gun or fired a gun or owned a gun or was raised in a gun culture. But the new school superintendent told a local TV station about safety. She said, quote, "We are looking at ways to create some socially emotional learning." I mean, come on, give me a break. We need to be looking at ways to protect the students and the staff that are inside the building before the shooter can act. An active shooter inside a school must be killed before he or she can murder our young children and their teachers and staff. And if you don't believe that, I think you're dead wrong about it. But I know there's some people out there that feel the way I do. I just know, I feel it. I can feel it coming through this microphone. One thing to do is contact these school board members where your children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews attend. At LISD, the president of the school board is a guy named Zach Brady. I know Zach. I've known Zach a long time. Zach is basically a West Texas guy. He's got West Texas values. He's not a moron. I think he's a smart guy. And Zach Brady is president of the LISD school board. I'd just like to see them put some pressure on these schools to arm these teachers that are qualified and would want to be armed. I know a lot of school teachers that can't carry their weapons on the campus because they have a concealed carry permit. They shoot a lot. They know how to handle a handgun, but they're not allowed. Other school board members, these are people I don't know at LISD. They're Beth Bridges, Bill Stubblefield, Lala Chavez, Scott Mayfield, Ryan Curry, and Bill Webb. Now, at Friendship, the board president is Brad Draper. I don't know Brad. I knew his dad. And that board has Brandon Autry, Jamie Phillips, Greg Robinson, David Miller, not the ex-mayor, but David works for he worked for the McDougal Company here. I don't know if he still does or not. Kyle Rogers and Michaela Newsom. At Lubbock Cooper, Paul Ehlers is their president of the school board, and school board members are Daniel Castro, Eric Best, Kevin Bryan, Brent Preston, Ursula Caswell, and B.J. Lewis. These folks ask for the job to run our schools. The safety of our children is in their hands and should be their very first and top priority. Let's keep them safe. If we keep them safe, then we can educate them. It's their responsibility to use every tool that might work at their disposal to keep our children and our staffs safe and out of harm's way. It's time to arm teachers, those who are qualified, and those who want to be armed. And I think their identities should remain secret. The students shouldn't know if a teacher's armed or not. I'm passionate about this issue. I didn't sleep much last night. I was awake thinking about what I was going to talk about on this show today. But if the local school boards, if LISD and Friendship and Lubbock Cooper will take steps to arm qualified teachers, my wife and I will buy the first 3 firearms for those school systems, LISD, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper. We'll buy the first 3 Glock 43s, or whichever handgun they would want. The Glock 43 is the newest, easily concealable handgun. It's a striker-fired pistol, small, concealable. It's a single stack, meaning the magazine that goes up in the handle. And folks, it's not a clip; it's a magazine. The bullets are stacked one on top of the other. It's not a double stack. It doesn't hold a lot of ammunition. I think it's 7 rounds. It's small and it's concealable. It's a 9mm. They're about $450 to $500 each. And my wife and I'll buy the first 3, one for LISD and Lubbock Cooper and Friendship. If they'll just allow teachers. And I'll tell you something else I'll do. I'll bet you $1 against a soda cracker soaked in swamp water that I can get on this radio station and raise enough money to buy 50 handguns. I'll promise you I could do that if they would just allow the teachers who are qualified and who want to be armed to be armed. I don't know. Well, let's go to the phones this morning. I don't think my computer's working very well. Good morning. You're on the air with the Chad Hasty Show. Who's this?
It's Randy.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Paul Art.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm just right. I'm going to tell you, you're exactly right. The social and emotional psychobabble that these people have been putting out for years and years and years is the problem.
Can I get a witness?
I'm telling you, when I was in school, we all had guns in our pickups, and no one came in and shooted up school. This is crazy what they're doing.
Absolutely. When I was in high school, which was a long, long time ago.
Before me, even.
Well, absolutely way before you. Probably with your grandparents. But when I was in high school, we had teachers stop in the parking lot and examine a new gun that maybe me or someone else might be showing the other students that we had somehow accomplished to get our hands on over the weekend. And teachers would stop and say, "Man, that's a nice one, but that's a good one." And now it's just, you say guns and people go nuts. I mean, they just, the liberals just, I mean, they start fainting,
That's exactly right.
Like they've got the vapors. Thanks. See you later.
Have a good.
All right, you too. Bye. On the text line, Texas Education Agency is a socialist liberal organization. Preach on, brother. Preach on. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on the Chad Hasty Show.
Yes, sir. I went through a training course with one of the ex-SWAT team members over at Texas Tech University, or what we call the SWAT team response. That was his deal. And Eric has since resigned from Texas Tech, but it was really interesting because we went through all three scenarios and listened to him talk about. We went through three scenarios of Columbine,
mm-hmm. and Colorado,
the Russian thing, and Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
We did all three scenarios. The thing that struck me is when we walked into those things, everybody was dead pretty much already. Most of those scenarios.
Right. Like I say, when seconds count, the police are, minutes away.
Yeah. And number two on that, he made the point of he wanted people with concealed carry on campus. He said it'd be the greatest thing because first response, it helps my life, makes my life a lot easier to create resistance, to make people change what they're doing, their intent of what they plan to do. And number three, he said it's going to happen, period.
Sure.
He said it's not if, it's when. It's going to happen because the stress level of kids that think that they don't have anything else to lose, they're going to die as, quote, heroes in their mind and take everybody they can with them. That's the mindset, people. It's something that I don't wrap my brain around, but I can see these people being stressed and you get people out of college, especially, or going to college. That's where it's going to be the worst because of the stress of being kicked out of the house, and mom and dad has been there and had them under wing, maybe too tight in some cases, and they just don't fit in. And they're
But let me ask you a question. Is it a mystery to you why school administrators don't even consider talking to some of these people that are on the front lines of crime fighting and at least listen to maybe some of their suggestions? I mean, they have such a closed mind about this that it's strange to me. And I know not all of these board members are conservatives. I know some of them are liberal leaning, but I know some of these school board members are guys like you and I that, they probably own guns, probably hunt, have some gun culture in their background. But yet, when they get in those chairs at board meetings, they just, I guess they freeze up. I don't know what the deal is, but it amazes me that they won't even consider listening to an official or to somebody who's been on the front lines.
Yeah, it's a mindset of all kids are good. There's no bad out there. It's that John Locke, Thomas Hobbes argument go way back in its philosophy, and they believe in as a leftist argument that society makes man bad, that man is naturally good. Which I'm a Christian from the standpoint of God and Christ. I know that's exactly opposite of what God teaches, and I know that these people think that everybody's good, but there is not. I've seen pure evil, and it's to say that they're too high-minded on that stuff. They won't accept the idea that there's evil in the world. That's
Absolutely.
basically it.
And there's a lot of it, and it's everywhere. Thanks for the call. Good call this morning here
Thanks.
with the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate it very much. Paul R. Beane subbing.